on?
Hi, yes, Nabil.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good.
All right.
Just leave that behind you.
Sure. Cell phone charger's back there if you need one.
Let's see. I'm not even sure.
Is that a guitar or a bass?
It's a
Looks
bass.
Like a bass, yeah. Seems like a long neck. Nice. Off to a jam session or
Yeah,
a
I'm at
gig?
band practice.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's actually my number one. I've had it since 1990.
Oh wow, 1990, huh? And that's the longest one you've had, or?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, I had many before that too.
Oh, I see.
And I've got 10 more besides.
I love that. That isn't that always how it is. You just start accumulating them.
Yeah.
I recently purged like my guitars. I have one acoustic steel, one nylon, and I'm looking for an electric.
Okay, that's the next progression. Makes
Yep.
sense.
Well, I always, since a teenager, I've always had that. My first guitar was an electric, but same like you, it was like I had it, I tried it out, got rid of it, broke it down, switched to different ones. So it's just, it's the whole process. But honestly, I'm more of a drummer, and same thing. I had an acoustic drum set, gave it away, and now I'm looking for something digital because I'm trying to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have speakers I can't crank all over.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. We share walls. That's the problem.
And my building, it's an older building, so it's actually pretty quiet.
Really?
You really don't hear. The only thing you can hear is the kitchen. The wall is on the hallway, so
okay.
they can. If somebody's talking loud in the kitchen, you can hear it, or somebody in the hall can hear you.
Oh, interesting.
Plus,
okay.
the second exit door is in the kitchen.
Okay.
So between those factors, but other than that, the rest of the apartment's quiet.
Sure. Well, that's good then. That's pretty good. People don't hear you too bad, so it's got
No,
decent,
I've
decent
never got a
acoustics.
complaint about rehearsing.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
But I
That's
try
good.
not to be an idiot about it.
See, that's how I was in my teen years. It was like just blast the amplifiers loud
Right,
as I
right.
shred as fast as I can and see, But yeah, now I'm like, moderate volume. I don't need to rupture these anymore. They're already going.
And really, I should practice with headphones because they're brutally honest.
Right.
That's the best thing to practice with.
Exactly. They really let you know. Yeah, because you're right. The amplifier can hide a lot.
Yeah, stuff bounces around in the air.
Yeah.
But you'll hear it.
Exactly. So what kind of music does your band play?
I guess you call it, that's a good question. I mean, it's rock.
Okay.
But, it's artsy, a little Talking Heads type stuff.
Okay.
It covers a lot of territory.
Nice. Okay.
I've always said if you can't define it, it's a good thing.
Sure.
Because that music hasn't been done.
Yeah, you're making something new. Exactly. Oh, that's great. And do you do a lot of original music, or
Yeah,
do you...
well, we it's an all original band, but we've learned a bunch of covers for some gigs, but that's necessary.
Sure. Yeah, as that you just kind of part of the.
I mean, because the cover gigs actually pay better. So, hey, you want to be with Mac? Fucking hey.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Learn it. It's not that hard. So you pick it up and then.
It's really not.
Yeah, it can be fun. You put a little spin on it yourself, make it your own thing. Yeah.
Inevitably, if that's what they want, sure.
Yeah. So are you a professional musician? That's all you do?
No. I mean, I have been, but I worked for the Salvation Army.
Oh, okay.
I worked for them for 8 years.
Oh, nice.
But I've never stopped doing this.
Sure, yeah, that pays the bills, and this is what you love to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally get it.
And I mean, my whole life, I don't think I've made a profit on it because I think when I make money, I just buy more crap.
Isn't that always how it is? Like, I can get this reverb pedal, I can get this new pedal here.
Yeah,
exactly. Every penny goes into something, or just strings always being replaced anyways.
Yeah, and I'm a fanatic about that. Some people let the stuff get dead. I don't.
No, you got to keep them fresh, huh?
I guess I did need something to charge them. Because your instrument won't even tune up right.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, after a certain point in time, or it'll lose it real fast. Especially with bass strings, you've got to keep them fresh because there's so much tension on the string.
Yeah.
That it'll go. It's just going to bend. It's on type of metal. Yeah.
Well, I just got. Because the Fender Custom Shop is about $4 or $5 grand, and the real one would the 10 to 15,000. It's like I got the Squire replica of a 1953 Precision.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Which is, looks like a giant Telecaster.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wanted to get that authentic sound, so I'm going to put flat wounds on it.
Okay.
And just go for that old 50s 60s electric bass thump tone.
That's Strat. Yeah, Strats had a specific sound that really, it could be so many different things, but it was very specific noise to it.
Yeah.
You ever like to get on like the stand-up full body bass?
Yeah, once in a while.
Yeah, they can be.
But I don't have one.
Sure.
But I play guitar too, so I've got a Squire Strat that I've had for a long time. It's got DiMarzio pickups in it.
Okay.
I've got a couple of Epiphones.
Uh-huh.
I'm not good enough to justify spending a couple of grand on a guitar yet. But because playing bass all these years with my fingers, learning a pick is the toughest part.
Oh,
and plus I'm left-handed.
Oh, okay.
I play right-handed, but I'm left-handed, so teaching my right hand anything's a pain in the ass.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? I'm left-handed myself too.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, it made sense to play right-handed on anything stringed because I feel like this does more of the artistry of it, right?
Exactly.
So right, and I sketch with my left and do all that. So it just made natural sense. The right hand is really just picking for the most part.
It does, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, it does do most of the work. But the right hand can be trained to do things.
Oh, absolutely.
But obviously, because it's a two-handed instrument.
Yeah.
But new things, and the older you get, the tougher it is.
Absolutely, that's very true. One thing that helps is brush your teeth with the right hand. That actually builds up a lot of the connectivity too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it really was a blessing that I'm a musician because about 3 years ago I had a stroke.
Okay.
And it affected my left side, and I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to write again.
Oh man.
But because I was a musician, I think I had extra connections.
Yeah, you were already working.
I never stopped playing.
Sure.
It was a year before I could do a vibrato on a guitar or bend a string. I couldn't even bend a string. My hand just wouldn't listen to that instruction.
Yeah.
I'm still not 100%.
Sure.
Sometimes when I can't do things, I have to remember, hey. But I'm like 95% on the bass, and I'm probably about 70% on the guitar.
Sure.
I listen to stuff I did before the stroke, and I pulled off a lot of stuff effortlessly now as effort. But I keep going because it's therapy.
Right. Yeah.
And if I have the attitude that I will do it, I will do it.
There you go.
They were telling me you have to make all these adjustments and allowances. I said, bullshit, I'm getting it back. They thought I was crazy. I can't wait. I'm going to go back there one day and say, hey guys.
Here it is.
Remember me?
Back. No, and that's really the truth with it. The human body is amazing. It's an amazing piece of machinery that will do exactly that. If you have the mindset to keep at it until you get there, you can get it back. You can get it back.
I think
Absolutely.
I was fortunate that I had some extra connections.
Yeah.
But I also had something that was perfect therapy. Talk about connecting your brain to your hand. What does that more than that?
Nothing. Absolutely.
And I did research. Anytime something happened, I wanted to know exactly what's going on.
Sure.
So I did a lot of research on the brain.
Yeah.
And the brain has certain areas that do certain things, but it's not fixed in stone.
Yeah, that's right.
There's something called neuroplasticity.
Exactly.
And so you can move that function from the injured part. So once I found that out, I said, just keep doing it. The brain will find a way to make it happen.
Exactly.
Because there are people who've been born with pieces of the brain missing, and they're totally normal.
Yeah.
That function just moved over.
Exactly. And it's all there. It'll continue to be there.
You know why there's a lot of foot fetishes?
Why is that?
Because the sensory part of your brain from your feet is right next to the sexual part.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they touch, and that creates foot fetishes.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
that what caused it. Okay, now I know. No, but I've heard that one, and I've heard where they say kids, when you're a baby, if you're carried a lot, you tend to like boobs more. But if you're on the ground a lot more as a kid, you associate people with feet, and you tend to like feet.
Interesting. That's quite possible.
Yeah.
But
But that makes sense too. If those connections are there, it's really one of those, or who knows.
And things adapt. Like for example, people who were blind.
Yeah.
Their hearing takes over some of that used to be the vision section of
Yeah.
the brain. So now they got extra hearing capability.
Right.
That's why you can get geniuses like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder, because they're hearing shit you're not hearing.
That's very true.
You know?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's what they say when you lose
something
one.
maybe complicated to you, they hear clearly.
Right.
So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Learning there's people who you can play a chord and they know exactly what chord it is. That's a gift.
Yeah.
It can be learned, but it's a bitch.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My daughter, she's 9 and she has perfect pitch.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
It's amazing. I tell her it's unfortunate you have your dad's ears, but it comes with some perks, which is you're musically gifted. So
Yeah,
she's
that's
like, all
great.
right. Yeah. But unfortunately, they're about the same size as mine.
I was in a band with a guy who the whole band's playing and he'd say, your D string's flat.
Oh man.
I mean, he had ears like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Sure. Some people really do.
I played with a lot of people like that, so it gets your ears good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. It's good. I haven't trained it to say, okay, this is that note, but I have a perfect pitch. I play a lot of guitar solos, so I can find what notes fit within an arrangement.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But if a note just played out of the air, I can't say, well, that's a C or that's a D. I wish I could.
Yeah.
They say it can be learned.
You can. Yeah, you can teach yourself perfect pitch. Yeah, you absolutely can. But yeah, I never sat to figure it out. I've always been more of a tinkerer on instruments. This is why I love drums so much, because there's not as much to learn on a drum. You just know what sounds the set is going to make, and you just hit them all in the order that you want to fit the timing.
But still, that's difficult in and of itself, separating the function on all those limbs.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the hardest part, is the limb separation. But after that, I don't need to know tuning to a degree. You have to know...
Right.
But it's very minor. I don't need to know scales, arpeggios, notes, chords, none of that. It's just hit it and what's the sound it's going to make. That being said, I was a guitar player for 13 years before I even touched a drum set. So I definitely learned all that. And it just, once I sat down as a kid, I was like, oh, this is where I should have been the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing bass a very long time, and I've always been in and out with guitar. But it's only about maybe 10 years ago I decided to get serious about guitar. And it's tough.
Oh yeah.
And I know music and I have all the facility on the neck from the bass.
Yeah.
But still, chords is a whole different animal, and the guitar itself is a different animal.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. 6 strings to 4, different tunings.
You have to think differently too.
Oh yeah. You really do. Yeah.
A lot of times you can tell it's a bass player playing guitar, and vice versa.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, you can see oh yeah, they're playing it like a bass player, or they're playing it like a guitar player. Right. Yeah. Have you ever touched any the horned instruments or anything like that?
I tried. I'm not a horn guy. I mean, I'd love to try trombone. For some reason, I think I could get that.
Sure.
Slide trombone's like fretless bass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very true.
I'd like to try that. But saxophone, I said no way. Because it's not logical like a piano or a guitar.
Yeah.
You have to memorize where those things are and what they can
different
do.
levels, how deep you're pushing it down, right? Because you have 3 buttons, but it's how you're going to push those buttons is going to get a completely different sound.
It's wild.
Yeah, it really.
And trumpet, somebody showed me a C scale. A friend of mine started out as a kid playing trumpet, so his ear was in really good shape. So when he started learning stringed instruments, he was just the fastest learner I've ever seen.
Oh, that's awesome. Is it trumpet makes kind of a good foundation for translating other stuff?
Any instrument when you learn how to read music and you get your ear going.
Yeah. That's very true.
I mean, I gave him a few lessons on bass, and after the 3rd lesson, I said, you don't need me anymore.
Oh wow.
His house is amazing.
Oh yeah, I love this neighborhood. That all the houses comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then you learn the history, and you're like, oh yeah, Evanston used to have a wall that separated all of Chicago and people of color from Evanston.
Wow.
That's what this is all rooted in. That was a lot of this was gated community type.
Wow.
Way back when.
Oh, in Wilmette's original charter, it said no blacks or Jews.
Yep.
They deny that now. I saw it.
is.
And
yeah.
Chicago's still one of the most racist cities I've ever been in.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. By design. This is, you know, what I tell people, like Division Boulevard, right? Why is it called Division? Because nobody
thought about that.
Yeah, right. And it's because nobody of color was allowed to buy any property above Division. That was the Division line.
Makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, talk about legitimizing redlining. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was exactly it. They just said, here, we'll just build a whole structure around it. This is it. This is the city here. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. But that's the history, you know. It's all
Makes
deeply
sense.
in America. That's the history that it was created with. So it's like, yeah.
I mean, growing up here, yeah, I'm half black, but you get indoctrinated. You know, you have even if you're black, you're not taught. You know, your history. You're not taught. You really subconsciously soaks in like you're some kind of second-class citizen.
Sure.
You know, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Ah.
And so it's really, you know, this whole thing about trying to dictate what people can be taught about black people. I mean, that's utter bullshit.
Absolutely.
You know, as it is, the truth hasn't been taught.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it might traumatize some kids. Well, you shouldn't have fucking done it.
Right. For one, yeah.
Now, and I'm not blaming anybody alive now for something
Sure.
that happened 100 years ago.
Sure.
But there's plenty of nonsense now to
yeah.
criticize.
And that's the thing. It wasn't even 100 years ago. 60 years ago. You know what I mean? 60 years ago when emancipation happened. So that means that before all of that was, or when they started changing the laws, not emancipation, but they started changing the laws for equality to allow black people to go to regular, you know, everyday schools and to not have all that. Yeah.
Well, look at it this way. My dad was white. My mom was black. They were breaking the law back in the 50s.
Yeah.
That's how crazy that is.
Right. See, and
I mean, in New York, nobody gave a shit. But if they went to Georgia or something, they would have put them in jail.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Or killed them.
Yeah. North Carolina, Texas. Yeah. Tons of places. That was exactly it. You know, and that continued even into the 90s in other parts of the world where it was like, so it's like you said, it's like, this is traumatizing, but it's like, that's exactly the traumatizing that's been happening, that was occurring. That's why we learn about it.
I mean, if it's traumatizing to hear about, imagine living through it.
Exactly. You know, but it's like, okay, what about World War II? It's pretty awful if you were Jewish, everything that happened there. But because, you know, they want to say, well, America won that war, so it's a good story. That's why it's taught in history books. There's a 1,000 movies about it, and it's History Channel every single day talks about it.
But the fact that America didn't want to take any refugees, you don't hear about that part.
Right. The people they did take were the Nazi scientists. They did take those guys.
Werner von Braun.
Yeah, they sure brought them over, saved them. But here's the thing that's not talked about. If you Hitler, you know the Iron Eagle that's on the Nazi symbol, the eagle. That he copied America. Hitler copied America because he actually said, I like the way America does this racism thing. This is what I want. I'm very pro that. And he was, that's the whole Iron Eagle was because
I remember there were actually, there was a movement and about racial purity and all that. And they actually had places here in America doing experimentation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, eugenics and all that stuff. That was that was a popular science at the time.
And you know, we don't know what we don't know. Back then, they thought it was a legitimate science.
Sure.
And they used it to rationalize racism.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that and phrenology, right? The shape of the head, right? All that stuff. As far as they said, oh, if you got these bumps or that, you're a criminal. And if it's shaped as it turns out, everything, you know. But it was, for me, it seemed, or everything I read showed that it seemed more like science was being used to justify the racism that was already there.
Right.
You know, not that they said, well, science has discovered that this could be the case, but it was like, turns out I feel this way, now I want to make science make that make sense.
And we're getting back to that, unfortunately. I mean, the same way people can use the Bible to rationalize the same behavior. Right.
Absolutely. And that's it. It creates the us or them mentality, and it's very true. If you look at it, you know, that like the people that were running the slave ships, they were Christians. They were God-fearing people as well, as they were taking people and selling them as property. You know, and it was in the Bible. It was perfectly fine. Right. So, and that's you know, continued to now, where people still thump on it in the same way.
But
It's an us and them.
slaves weren't treated then like they are now. I mean, it was just a political thing. If you overran a country, you took their population as slaves.
Yeah.
But they weren't just abused or denied their humanity.
Sure.
Because it talks about that in the Bible.
Right. There were certain rules to it, certain expectations to it. I would have to see more, because I know, I mean, how it is biblically versus now. But then if you look at like Roman culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Rome, they had everybody in ancient Rome and Greece all operating, but then they had all the slaves toiling in the mines that were getting the salt, getting the jewels, getting the gold, getting all of that. And those people, they had slaves that they said it's going to cost more to feed them than to just go get more. Wow. So we'll just work them to death.
Wow.
And that was 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, whenever BC Rome was happening.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, I love looking at all those castles and all that opulence and Versailles and all that shit.
Sure.
But all that gold and all that stuff was built on the backs of the slave trade.
Exactly.
When England took over India, right? They found tea.
Yeah.
They were getting crops from the United States.
Yeah.
All this stuff. I mean,
And one that was wiped off history books. I'm Mexican, and they talk about, look at what the Spanish conquistadors, they took $4 trillion worth of gold to fund the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, the Spanish empires.
Wow,
these were all on the backs of the children that were murdered in South America and Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah. This band is called Me Gosh. But yeah.
Oh.
They got some decent solo.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you look like Megadeth.
Right, but with the same yes.
But I said it's too melodic.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I was a teenager, I was a fan of Megadeth, Metallica. I loved that, like melodic classical intros, but then they would do that thrashing metal, which was again, I love to shred on guitar. So those were the bands that did it, as far as I was concerned.
I see that. I'd love to be. I mean, I know the theory, but I can't make that pick move fast enough, and I can't. I really have to think about putting it on each string.
Sure.
So I guess I just have to go through these baby steps till one day it'll just click.
Yeah. Oh, I get you.
Just like I had to teach them how to slap a bass.
Right. You got to learn the
Because when you're left-handed, you have to teach the right hand everything.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, it really was. I remember we just got guitar picks and guitars and headphones, and I just shred all night until my fingers would be bleeding, and then I was like, all right, cool, I think I know how to do it. And then that was teenage me. But the thing I loved is like flamenco style classical guitar. So that's a lot of the finger picking, a lot of softer movements, but also something I really enjoy.
Yeah, I've got a little classical, but when you were young, there was nobody around to tell you couldn't do it, so you did it.
Exactly.
I listened to tapes that I did when I was 19, and they're valid. I mean, the first 4 years you learn so much.
Yeah.
And some people just stop there and never move on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I should be a lot better than I am for how long I've been playing, but pretty good.
Sure. I think that might be something to it. Yeah. If I had really tried to study and learn and practice, I for sure would be a lot better. I've always just been get in and mess with it. That's all. But I always felt like music should be played. You're playing. You're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's how I felt with it. So I usually
I instinctively kind of know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, I can figure out chords. I may not know I know what to call them if I really do the work.
Sure.
But by the time you figure out all that crap, it's too late.
Right? Is all this
I
work
can just
to
pick up a guitar and play along with stuff.
Yeah. See, exactly. That's what the way I look at it. But I think understanding.
It's good to know all that, sure.
Exactly, can give you more depth. Once you know how to play with it, it's like a tool.
But just knowing the theory, keeps you from playing the same stuff over and over.
Exactly.
Even Victor Wooten, a great bass player, he'll make a mistake occasionally because he's not afraid to go there.
Yeah.
You want to stay in your comfort zone so you quote unquote sound good.
Right.
But sometimes you come on the best stuff by accident.
Absolutely. Yeah, trying something new, playing something different.
Yeah.
Something playing away.
I hate playing wrong notes, but sometimes that's how you get there.
Yeah. So other than Victor Wooten, you said, who else are some other bass players I should check out?
God, we have Jocko, you know. But this, you know, Paul McCartney was a great bass player.
Absolutely was, yeah.
Still is, actually. And you know, there's all the jazz players, you know,
Sure.
Ron Carter and Christian McBride and all those people.
Okay.
Ray Brown.
Ray Brown.
I met him a few times.
Oh yeah.
He's such a gentleman.
Nice. Let's see. So it's going to be here on the right side over here.
Oh no, it should be on the left actually.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's saying right before
Right where
this.
that
So left into here.
Smallest house on the block.
So but a left
It's
into
right,
this one.
right after
Oh, okay.
the copper thing. There you go.
Oh, so then turn right into here.
It's easy. No, right there. See, it's easy to miss.
Oh, it's that
Yeah,
back there, that house.
right.
Oh, okay. I'll flip around for you. No problem. 2014. Let's see. Oh, I see. Yeah, the evens are on that side. Okay.
That's cool.
All right, here
Nice
you are.
talking to you.
Yeah, it was great chatting. Great chatting.
Let me take my phone. Yeah, it was pretty dead actually. I've been running around downtown about half the day. Alrighty, go make some noise.
Here we go. Sounds like a great time, man. Have a good one. I'm jealous.